Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yugioh VRains episode review. So this time we will be reviewing episode 41, the beginning of the long-anticipated rematch between Playmaker and Revolver. General impressions, as always, whenever I make these reviews, I love to talk to you guys and see what you guys have to say in the comments below. But I am especially excited to talk to you guys about this episode because there was so much that happened. We got so much information, I felt, in this episode, which is crazy because the first 3 minutes was literally like a mini recap about what happened. But I honestly didn't mind the beginning of this episode. I actually kind of liked it. I felt like it kind of, culminated what had happened the last 2 months or so, and now this is like the big finale, and it kind of like, how did we get to this point? And I felt like that kind of worked. So honestly, rewatching those scenes kind of got me more hyped for this duel, if that makes any sense. So I thought the episode, even though the beginning was just kind of rehashed footage with different music and stuff, I still thought it was actually pretty well done. And general impressions, generally speaking, I love the episode. I thought the dueling action was great. I don't think you'd expect too much less between Playmaker and Revolver. I thought the speed duel, for once, usually I'm not a fan of the speed duel, but I thought in this setting where you're so close to the Tower of Hanoi and you have all this debris, flying in every direction, there were actually points where I think this is just an issue that I have. I got like motion sickness, which I guess it wasn't motion sickness because obviously I wasn't moving, but I got kind of nauseous at like 2 different points in the episode from all the really fast moving debris in the background. I don't know if anyone else experienced that. That was just kind of a personal thing. Obviously not blaming the episode or anything, but I thought that was kind of, there were 2 points in the episode where I actually had to look away for like 10 seconds or so and pause the episode because my eyes started to hurt. So that was probably a negative. Everything was just kind of moving a little fast, and that, of course, that's a personal gripe. Some people might not, most people, I should say, probably didn't even have that issue. But, yeah, besides that, even with that, I still enjoyed it because you have all these, like, asteroid-looking rocks and debris flying, destroying the frog. Jeez, that frog took, like, 3 to the face by the end of the episode. And Playmaker, literally, it was like he was getting shot by bullets at different points. He took one to the cheek, he took one, it looked like, to the hip and to the shoulder, and Kusanagi at one point goes, if this hits you in the wrong area, you could die. I imagine if it hits him, like, in the throat and, like, slits open his neck, or hits him in the heart, I imagine those are the 2 spots that probably would end up killing him. So the stakes are, not only the stakes are high, but the duel itself is very high risk, as you would expect dueling in such a dangerous area, and I like that. Usually I always prefer master duels. I'm not saying I would have preferred this setup to a Playmaker Revolver master duel, but I enjoyed it. It should be dangerous. The duel should be dangerous. We're at literally the end of this arc. And so I thought the duel setting was well done. I thought we learned so much. We learned so much in this episode, and that's really what I'm going to talk. I don't think many people come listen to me to hear my thoughts on the dueling action. Obviously, I watch Yu-Gi-Oh! More so for the story than anything else, which I know might be crazy, but that's the case. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to jump to about the middle of the episode when we finally learn some very interesting backstory on Ignis, on I. Now, we don't learn everything maybe we want to know, but we do learn that I hid and lied about not having any memory, and he even admits to this. He doesn't really deny it. He doesn't, maybe at the beginning he denies it, and then he kind of, panicky admits to it and tries to say that he didn't trust Playmaker because he didn't trust anyone. The most interesting thing, though, about this episode, they show the 6 kids, and Revolver says the 6 AIs, which I think we all could have guessed, were modeled after these 6 kids, and the one that Playmaker has is modeled after him, which is just kind of funny because it's literally the exact opposite person as Playmaker. So I guess obviously personality is not what the I copied or mimicked. It's obviously just dueling ability and dueling skill. And when they briefly show us the 6 kids, there was one girl in there because you could tell she had a dress on. It looked like 5 guys. And the one girl was so interesting because she had dual pigtails, which is like how Aoi had in her past and when she was younger. And we already know the only female AI that we saw in the very beginning in episode 1 was a blue AI with pigtails. So something makes no sense here. Either there's going to be a character that shows up that looks exactly like Aoi Zaizen. Maybe it'll be like a long-lost sister of Aoi Zaizen. That would be kind of interesting, and there could be like maybe a mini rivalry there. Or it's going to be Aoi Zaizen. And if it's Aoi Zaizen, the timeline makes no sense. Does she not remember any of this? Was her memory wiped? Was there a point for 6 months where she disappeared and Akira just doesn't have any recollection of that? That to me makes little to no sense. So there's something weird going on there, and I'm very excited to learn more of the people that were involved in this incident. We know Playmaker was one. We know Spectre was another. We know Jin was one. God knows where Jin is at this point, even though Kusanagi did mention him in the beginning of the episode, saying to defeat Revolver so that he can explain to his brother what happened. So I think he knows where his brother is, but his brother maybe is just cut off from the world. This obviously, the preview especially, killed any theory that Jin is Revolver. That theory is completely dead. I honestly thought it would be cool if it happened, but you know what? It makes this universe, it makes the Yugioh VRains world a little bit bigger. The fact that they're not the same character, now we have two different characters to explore, and they're not related, so I don't really mind it too much, and the reference I'm making is in the preview, we see Revolver's face. It's in real life. It's a much younger Revolver, but we see him. We'll probably get some backstory on him next episode. That's why I could not wait for this duel for the last, 2 months, because I knew that this would be the duel where we get a lot of questions asked. And something that I thought was very interesting, besides that we have the 6 eyes, the 6 main Ignis, modeled after these 6 kids, is that Kogami coded them all, and I believe Revolver said the purpose of making these AIs was to save humanity, right? He says the Ignis were supposed to save humanity, or we created the Ignis to save humanity. Something along those lines. But what were they trying to save humanity from? And that, the big question was, why did this incident go on? Okay, now we got that answer in this episode, which was a question that has been bugging us since the Playmaker Akira duel. Why did this incident take place? And now here we are 20 episodes later, we finally got that answer. It was to create these 6 Ignis that were going to save humanity. Now the question shifts from why did the incident take place to why were these Ignis created? What are they saving humanity from? We didn't get an answer about that. And I bet you that whatever evil or whatever these Ignis were created to stop, I bet you that could be the final antagonist. Either that will be like the final antagonist group in the final arc, or the final arc will be Ignis trying to take over the world, and Ignis, AI with free will. And Revolver even says in this episode, when we learned that the Ignis created this whole Cyberse world and that Ignis are able to, artificial intelligence is able to lie to you, that's terrifying. And that should be a thought that scares everyone. That's why we need to destroy them. They've gotten too smart. They've gotten too out of hand. And honestly, that's almost a real world issue. I'm not going to lie. I am kind of terrified in 30, 40 years to see how much artificial intelligence is going to grow. And there might be a point where artificial intelligence gets smarter than humans and is able to maybe start deceiving humans. And there have been so much research, again, I'm not trying to get apocalyptic or anything, but so much research that artificial intelligence could be what ends humanity. And so seeing that fear of me in real life, and I think so many others in 30, 40 years, what the world's going to be like, seeing that play out in Yugioh VRains, to me is so interesting, and that's a concept I've been interested in for 2-3 years now, and so to see it in a Yu-Gi-Oh anime and to see that as a main theme, I absolutely love that. I think that is so cool and so terrifying, but at least we get to see it play out in a fictional Yu-Gi-Oh anime rather than the real world. So we'll see how it goes, but I don't disagree with Revolver, and when Revolver was calling Ignis out, I got so scared. He didn't get defensive, he didn't get angry, he got so scared that Revolver absolutely blew his cover. And the fact that I was able to hide all this data from 2 amazingly talented hackers in Yusaku and Kusanagi, and had the wits about to lie to Playmaker and Kusanagi, and recognized that Yusaku was the kid from the incident as soon as he got caught, according to I in this episode, that is terrifying. And so the plot thickens, we got some answers, but there still is a lot left to be desired. We still know that Revolver knows, Playmaker's real life identity, which we are probably going to see at some point play out, hopefully in the next couple of episodes. But guys, my goodness, that is a real info drop. And he felt a little guilty. I think he felt a little scared and guilty, but at the same time, probably more scared than anything else, because if Playmaker loses, he's literally dead. But Playmaker also roasted the hell out of I in this episode. He was like, I don't consider this thing anything but a hostage. He's not a friend. I have no feelings towards it. And I was probably a little upset, probably a little hurt by that comment, but Playmaker is a very cold character. That has not changed in 41 episodes, and so it's probably something that I should have seen coming, but it's just going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out, because there's still, although we got that big question of why this incident took place, there are still so many question marks and so many things to speculate, and I cannot wait for next week's episode. I thought this episode was really good. In terms of the dueling action, Revolver draws Mirror Force. Playmaker kind of counters it by putting a monster in defense position, and as long as that monster was in defense position, no effects could destroy any monsters, including spell and trap effects, but one of Revolver's monsters shifts all of the opponent's monsters into attack position, negating that. Mirror Force goes off, destroys Playmaker's board, and actually at the end of this episode, Revolver, I think, summoned a brand new Link 3. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I enjoyed the design. I don't think we've seen the monster before. And he attacks Playmaker directly for 3,100 points of damage, gets Playmaker under 1,000. But remember, this is very similar to what happened in the Master Duel when Revolver and Playmaker dueled. Revolver was destroying Playmaker, got him down to barely anything, and then Playmaker in one mighty blow with Firewall ended up winning that duel. So Revolver needs to be on his guard, and hopefully we see Firewall Dragon, right? We have not seen Firewall Dragon in quite some time, and that monster is one of my favorite designed monsters in all of VRains. So hopefully we do see Firewall next episode. But yeah, Revolver delivers 3,100 points of damage. He has another monster that has 1,600 attack that is in the process of attacking Playmaker, and Playmaker, to my knowledge, has nothing on the field, so that's how the episode ended. The only thing that's going to save him is an effect from the hand or an effect from the graveyard. I don't believe he has any set cards on the field, so I'm actually 100% sure this will not be the end for Playmaker. We even see a baby Firewall Dragon, as I called him when he first came out in V-Jump about 5 months ago in the preview. I believe it's Security Dragon, so that is awesome that Playmaker's actually using it. I remember when I made that video talking about how hopefully Playmaker does use him, and that was around the episodes, like when we were at like episode 15 or so. It was a long time ago, and everyone was kind of, I'd say 50-50. The fan base was split on whether Playmaker would actually use this monster or not, and I'm really glad that he is using it, because it's an adorable Firewall Dragon, and if you like Firewall Dragon's design, you'll probably just as much appreciate Security Dragon's design. So very excited to see that summoning, and hopefully that means we will see Firewall in the next episode and continue to get some more backstory about the Ignis and about Revolver. Still a lot left to look forward to in Yugioh VRains and in this episode, and I cannot wait to see how this duel plays out. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening to my episode 41 review. Please let me know all your thoughts and theories down below in the comment section. I really cannot wait to discuss this episode with you guys. I thank you all so much for watching. I thank you for the continued support, and I hope you have an amazing day.